The bearing of 2 points Q and R from a point P are 30 degree and 120 degree respectively. If PQ equals to 12 centimeter and line PR equals to 5 centimeter, find the distance QR. Okay, you see in bearing, you first have to draw out the diagram. Okay, so let's start by drawing the diagram. The bearing of 2 points Q and R from point P. So let's first draw the P. This is point P. Okay, so the bearing of 2 points Q and R from point P are 30 degree and 120 degree respectively. Do you know the meaning? That is, the bearing of Q from P is 30 degree and the bearing of R from P is 120 degree. Do you understand? Okay, so let's start with Q. The bearing of Q from P is 30 degree. So I'm going to have 30 degree, 30 degree, and the bearing of R from P is 120 degrees. So 120 will be in the second quadrant around here. So we're going to have something like this. Do you understand? Okay, so this is P, then this is Q, and this is R. Do you understand? Okay, now the goal is to find distance. Don't forget that we've been given in the question that line PQ is 12 centimeters. So this is 12 centimeters, and line PR is 5 centimeters. So this is 5 centimeters. Do you understand? Okay, let me draw this very well. I want to draw this cardinal point. Let me draw it very well. Do you understand? So this is PQR. Okay, now we are looking for distance QR, that is the distance from this point to this point. We are looking for this distance. Okay, what a beautiful question. Now, how can we find this distance? To get this distance, we are going to make use of cosine rule. You understand? Because we are given this side and this side, and we are looking for this side. We are given two sides. So, and to make use of cosine rule, I need the angle that this distance face. Are you getting it? This side that you see here, I need the angle that it faces. And this side is facing this angle, you know. So I need this angle. I need this angle. I need this angle. How do I calculate this angle? Just pay attention. If this is P, let me represent it as small p. If this is R, I'm going to represent it as small r. And this is Q, I'm going to represent this as what? Small q. Do you understand? Small letter Q. Okay, to get this distance, this is 30 degree, and we know that the sum of angle in this point to this point is what? 90 degree, you know. So 90 minus 30 degree will give me 60. So I'm going to have 60 here. Do you understand? And we know that from this point, listen, from the question, from this point to this point is what? 120. Let me draw the diagram. Okay, this is point P. This is point P. Okay, now this one is 30 degree. Now from this point to this point is what? 90, right? You know, so if this is 30 degree, this is what? 60 degree. That will be what? 90 minus 30 degree. Abi. Now the next one is that we are given the question that from this point to this point is what? 120. Is that not it? From this point to this point, listen, from this point to this point is 120. Now, if I want to get this smallest angle that is here, that will be what? 120. This is 180, you know. This one that you see here is 180. And from this point to this point is 120. If I want to get the smallest angle that is here, that will be what? 180 minus 120, right? That is what? That is 60. So if this angle is 60, this angle will be what? 30 degree. Because from this point to this point is 90. It's simple. You see, I want you to understand. That's why I bring out this cardinal point. This cardinal point is for P. Are you getting it? We are dealing with the cardinal point that I bring out here is P. Now let me explain again. From this point to this point is 30, right? That means that in the first quadrant, the angles is 90. So 90 minus 30 will give me 60. And in the question, we are given that from this point, from this line, from the North Pole to this point is 120. So if I want to get the smallest angle that is here, that's what? 180 minus 120, because now we are on the second quadrant. Are you getting it? Clockwisely, we are on the second quadrant. So 180 minus 120 will give me 60. That's why I have this 60. Now, if this is 60, this will be 30. How? Because the angle in the second quadrant, clockwise now, I'm dealing with it clockwise. The angle in the second quadrant here will be what? 90. So 90 minus 60 is 30. Are you getting it? So the angle that is here will be 30. This angle will be 30 degrees. So 60 plus 30 is 90. So this angle here is 90 degrees. Do you understand? If you understand, listen to the explanation again. It's simple, okay? That's why I take time to bring out this diagram. Now, having gotten this as 90 degrees, that means that this triangle is right angle triangle. Are you getting it? So we can make use of Pythagoras theorem. We can make use of Pythagoras theorem to get this side. So let's just proceed. You can redraw the triangle like this. You can redraw the triangle. We have, right? This is P, this is Q, and this is R. This is 90 degrees, okay? This is hypotenuse, right? And this is 12 centimeter. This is what? 5 centimeter. You can see that the question is as simple as ABC. All you have to do is just understand what they want you to do and what you are given in the question, okay? So now, how do we get the hypotenuse? Based on Pythagoras theorem, hypotenuse squared is equals to opposite squared. The opposite is what? 12 centimeters. So 12 squared plus adjacent squared. The adjacent is what? 5 centimeters. So I'm going to have 5 squared. So the hypotenuse squared is equals to 144 plus 25. Okay. So the hypotenuse squared is equals to 169. 169. To get the hypotenuse, you have to take the square root of both sides. So square root of 169 is what? 13, right? So this side is 13 centimeter. So the distance between QR is what? 13 centimeter. 13 centimeter. You can see that it's simple. So if you come across the question of this kind in exam, the first step is that you have to bring out the diagram, okay? And when you are done with the diagram, you can now proceed to calculate what they ask you to calculate. And please, let me remind you, if you bring out the wrong diagram, you might find it hard to get the right answer, okay? Do you understand what I'm saying? And please make sure that anytime you are solving a question of this kind in a theory, diagram is very important. But if it is objective, you can neglect the diagram, because in objective question, you are not required to show your solution. Do you get it? Okay, so let's proceed to the next question. An aircraft flies 70 kilometers on a bearing of north 30 degrees east, then flies 130 kilometers due east. How far east from the starting point is the aircraft? Okay, now let us first bring out the diagram that we can have from the question. An aircraft flies 70 kilometers on a bearing of north 30 degrees east. So 70 kilometers.
To watch the complete class, kindly click on the link in the description of this video or the comment section, okay? See you in the next class.